And all the guys are loving that. I mean, we've got the first races coming up this afternoon, but they're all commenting on how many overtaking opportunities there are and how close those manoeuvres can be. We're excited.
Yeah, I think it's a big credit to all the drivers here this weekend to come to a new track. Everything's foreign to them, and they are starting to adapt really quickly. We've done some testing here early on in the year, and we try and give our drivers as much information with video footage and track knowledge and track walks as we can, and they're picking up exceptionally well. I think the beauty about our cars are, being a two-seater car, that we can teach people, how to drive the car, how to drive the braking. We have dual controls in our car with the clutch and brake, so the ability to, to fast-track our drivers to the pointy end is a lot easier.
Won by Peter Opie. In the end, though, it was Berryman and Miles that would start on pole position, courtesy of combined qualifying times. I mentioned that Peter Opie had in fact set pole in both sessions. That's not quite true. He couldn't get past third in session 2, a very dominant pole position in session 1. He still will start on the front row, but it's Tim Berryman that's got the start, Garth Walton. That's an absolute screamer.
He's got a great start there, Berryman. He'll lead to the first turn. Watch out for Opie on the outside. Oh, there's a big brake lock up there. I'm not sure who that was from, but no, we've all got through clean. Now Berryman's off in the front. That's nice, interesting that John Miles, the partner to Tim Berryman, said that he didn't want to start the car because he's not a great qualifier. As Nathan Stevens in Chris Medlin's gorgeous chrome SR3 RS sneaks up the inside to grab 4. Yeah, no, that's right. John's not a great start. He wasn't too confident in starting, I don't think. So let Tim do the hard work, I think, and jump into the middle. That was a nice move on his behalf. Tim Berryman, of course, has taken the point. We've got 50-minute race here as Peter Opie looks to try and squeeze up the inside. That would have been a fairly tough move, a bit brave this early in the piece, but also the other part of this, of course, is that he wants to get ahead so that he can make a break before those crucial pit stops, because he knows that once Johnny Miles is in this car, he's really going to push on hard. Yeah, that's right. Johnny's had some really good pace this weekend at Winton, so it's going to be hard work to keep him behind. But here we go. We've got Nathan Stevens on the back of Opie as well. He wants a piece of the action. He's moved up nicely there. Took Glenn Edis very early in that lap. And seeing Ed Singleton back a little bit further than we expected. The series points leader coming into this weekend is doing it hard from the back. One bloke that's back into the series this weekend, though, is George Bethard from the Nevco engineering team. We went and spoke to him in the pits a little earlier. George, you've come out of Porsches. You're one of the many competitors that's relatively new to Radical Australia Cup. For you, what was the attraction? What brought you to the cars?
I had a go in one about 3 years ago at Oran Park. Travel Plan invited me for a day, and it was just incredible. The fact that it was a two-seater and that an instructor could sit beside me and, as brave as they are, just grab the wheel when you're not doing something quite right. And the reward in terms of the way you could see your lap time coming down was immediate. And I'd never had that experience before. You were saying this is your third event with Radical now, so you're second with Radical Australia Cup. You're obviously enjoying it. You're surprised by how close the competition is and just how good the racing is? Yeah, look, it's excellent. I am surprised by how the lap times have come down and how everyone's so close. There's a couple of different age cars in the group, but they're all quite competitive. Competitive he's been most of the weekend as Ed Singleton just runs wide on the back of the circuit. That's turn 9. Torrid weekend for the series points leader. He had a lot of dramas, Garth Walton, with brake bias in the early qualifying session. That put him towards the rear of field. Then he struggled to get back onto the leader's pace. We know he can match them. That's no problem, but he struggled to get back on their pace in session 2. Qualified 4th, but on combined for this 50-minute endurance race, it puts him mid-pack. Now he's got to work his way back towards the front. Although one thing we've seen with Radical Australia Cup this year is just because you're down there to start with doesn't necessarily mean it's going to end that way. No, that's right, Sean. He's had an up-and-down weekend, but I'm sure he's quick enough. He'll get himself back up the front. Nathan Stevens, you've seen a little bit of as a driver-trainer for Radical for the series regulars, the amateurs, if you like. He's doing a great job in Chris Medlin's car. Yeah, he's doing a great job, Sean. He's done a lot of driver training in these cars over the last 3 years, and to see Nathan in his seat is great to see, and he's doing a fantastic job for Chris. Robert Baird there on the tail of Steve Shelley and Ed Singleton as they work their way forward. He's been doing a great job because he's one of few Victorian competitors, shares with his good mate Gary Walker. They share the driving, have done all year, and they've been creeping their way slowly forward with every round, and that's part of it, Garth Walton, isn't it? That these guys get more miles, and these endurance events allow them to actually
do some serious miles, get them under their belt, and they're increasing in speed with every lap.
Yeah, I think that's right, to have two people in the car and, you know, share over the 50-minute race gives them, there's a lot of track time opportunity on these events, which, you know, helps their track speed and it gets them up to speed a lot quicker.
Peter Opie just sitting comfortably in there behind Tim Berryman. Very
there we go, Nathan Stevens.
That is sad. That's frustrating for Nathan. He was doing such a good job. Get the car right. That's not the spot he wants to be sitting.
Don't know what's going on there, but here he's got to fire back up. And here we go. That's unfortunate for Nathan. Looks like he just went a little bit too deep into turn 11 and locked up the rear and turned himself around. But I'm not sure. I don't think he's lost a spot. He'll get himself back up there quite quickly.
Yeah, it'd be frustrating for him. He's sitting in the prime position, ready for those pit stops. Let's have a look at, under brakes in the bumps. He's just turned in too deep, locked the rears, and it's gone around. Fairly innocuous spin on board with him now.
Yeah, you can hear the engine noise there and the chatter of the gearbox as it bounces up over the bumps into 11 and locks up.
Into the pit stops now. Peter Opie has unstrapped himself. Now he's strapping himself back in. Pit window between minute 20 and minute 30. It looks like he's come in immediately after the pit window opens as Steve Shelley brings himself to a stop. He must alight from the car, stand beside the car, get back in, 60-second minimum stop and get going again. So he's got his pit stop out of the way. He'll be hoping to put in some pretty quick laps in order to overcome the change of driver that's going to occur between Berryman and Jonathan Miles.
Yeah, I think Pete decided to get in there quite early. I think he might have been getting held up by Tim a little bit or just wanted some clean air. It's quite hard to drive really close on the back of someone. You lose a lot of front aero, a lot of front grip. So get in, take the stop, get out with some clean air.
Now here we see a true driver change as Johnny Miles races in. Bit of extra padding there to jump in, take over from Tim Berryman. He's been the faster of the two drivers in this car. It's Tim Berryman's car consistently over the course of the year. Not by much. Tim's got plenty of experience, but Johnny's really been showing a good turn of speed. So it'll be interesting to see where they exit pit lane. Peter Opie will be absolutely pushing it as hard as he possibly can to make sure that he gains that little bit of time that he lost to the Berryman Miles team during the first segment of this race.
Yeah, that's right. It'll be interesting to see where he comes out. And we've got Richard Bloomfield just behind him. He's decided to come in for his compulsory stop. And we're just about to see Jonathan Miles take off from the pits. 2, 1, and he's away. 40 k's now out of pit lane. We're on board with Peter Opie. He's coming to turn 12. It's going to be nice and close, I think.
Driving into the setting sun here too. That's going to add another element to it, Garth. As we see him approach the line, it's on. Johnny Miles is going to really need to put the head down. The tyres will have cooled off a little bit.
Here comes Opie. Oh! Very close, Sean. Very close.
That was nice driving, protecting his line. What's Peter Opie going to do here? Surely not around the outside. He's going to go around the outside.
Big dive bomb down the outside.
That's a big move.
Side by side, this is unreal. Still, and he pulls it off.
He's done it. That was fantastic driving. One thing we've seen this year from Peter Opie, the reigning Radical Australia Cup champion, is he's not frightened to take some big moves. He went around the outside of Ed Singleton in a similar sort of move into the southern loop at Phillip Island. That was mind-blowing. He's just done the same thing on Johnny Miles, but good on Johnny. Gave him some racing room, and he knows that he can come back in. Now, speaking of Ed Singleton, Ed's following Tony Palmer from Radical Events into pit lane. He'll be hoping for a nice, clean stop. The two of them will, in fact, make sure he can get back out there and be competitive again.
Yeah, that was good to see, actually. Ed right up the back of Tony Palmer, pushing him along 40 k's an hour. You can't afford to lose any time at all in the pit stops. It's much easier to make up seconds in the pit stop than what it is on the track. So, you know, you try and keep on 40 k's an hour in and out of the pits. Good driver change. Oh, here we go. Phil Ansel, by the look of it. Oh no, that's Ollie Smith. Little spin through the sweeper.
Ollie's done a little bit of that over the course of the last couple of rounds of the Radical Australia Cup because he's fairly notorious for having a spin at Phillip Island in fairly challenging conditions, shall we say, in the end. Very fast, but got to make sure you keep the wheels pointing in the right direction as we see a battle between Simon Haggerty, who was one of the stars of round 2 at Phillip Island, and Ed Singleton, who was certainly one of the stars of the first couple of rounds. Nice to see Ed regaining a little bit of lost ground from qualifying and work his way through the field.
Jonathan Miles.
Oh, that's major.
That's bad news. That's, you know, same thing again, I think, as Nathan, just a little bit too deep in the brakes, lock up a rear and turn in, and around she went.
Gee, that was unusual. It wasn't as if he'd actually caught the rear of Peter Opie there. Nice job from Chris Medlin to avoid that ensuing spin, but he doesn't seem to be getting the thing to go again. We've got safety car period. Johnny Miles has actually stopped in a fairly precarious position there at turn 10. They're having trouble getting him back onto the circuit, so clearly the starter motor's gone. Now, that's one of the things that they talk about when they spin, is you've got to be quick on the clutch, Garth Walden.
You've got to be so quick on the clutch, Sean. As soon as you start spinning, foot straight on the clutch, because they're a direct drive starter motor, so as soon as you spin and the wheels go backwards, it spins the starter motor at 30,000 RPM and flies apart, so you have to be really quick. It's one of the biggest things you need to watch for.
Interesting on the restart, there's a little bit of strategy. Glenn Edis, who was nearly 30 seconds behind, holding down position 3 before that safety car period, had closed up to the rear of Chris Medlin. We're into the dying stages of the race. Chris was slow on the restart. Peter, at the point, watched the safety car come in and he accelerated. Unfortunately for Glenn Edis, he can't pass the guy behind, who in this case was Chris Medlin, until Chris had gone across the start-finish line, so that slowed him up. It's going to make it interesting. Glenn's going to really have to push hard if he's going to catch Opie here, but Peter knows that, and he's putting in some seriously quick laps straight away once the safety car's pulled off.
Yeah, Peter's got a great gap there for Glenn. That was unlucky for Glenn to get stuck behind Chris and to give Peter the gap that he needed. So we'll see what happens, see what pans out for that last couple of laps.
There's not much in it there. Glenn Edis holding down position 2. Nice to see Ed Singleton working his way back through the field. He's pushing hard a little bit further back, battling with Greg Smith, who took me for a run around this circuit earlier on the weekend, and by crikey, various parts of it in a radical with its low ride height. Very, very bumpy.
It is a very bumpy circuit. We've just seen in the background then Ed Singleton on the back of Simon Haggerty going for 3rd position, so they're going to have a nice run to the finish line, nose to tail. It's been great to see Simon do so well in the series.
You were saying to me earlier in the weekend, Garth, that having a strong result gives you that confidence to know you can do it, and Simon's showing that this weekend. But we're talking earlier about this race isn't over until it's over. This is the final lap. Peter Opie's got one more circuit of the Winton Motor Raceway venue to complete before he takes the checkered flag. But to see Ed Singleton, who qualified so poorly in the first session, recover to be in 4th place heading towards his final lap, that means that you've just got to keep at it. You can't give up. You've always got to be trying and turning in the laps, and that's one thing Peter Opie's done all weekend, and full credit to him. If he takes this win, it's an absolute clean sweep.
Yeah, that's right, Sean. You can never give up, never say never. It's been a great job for Ed Singleton to come back, and if he takes away 3rd or 4th in this race, it'd be great points for his championship fight, that's for sure.
And of course, that's what it's about. We've got a series of 50-minute endurance races. We've got enduros with 2 sprint races and an endurance race of 50 minutes in one race format. The varying race formats, 2 50-minute endurance races. So there's an awful lot of racing to be done in this Radical Australia Cup as Peter Opie heads towards the 3rd last corner of the race. This is, of course, where Jonathan Miles spun mid-race, disappointingly putting him out, which is real frustration for Tim Berryman and the team. They've been working so hard, have led the points after the first round. But this is coming into the 2nd last corner, now the final corner for Peter Opie. Fantastic job for the man who won Radical Australia Cup in 2010. This will be victory again. Glenn Edis 2nd. Nice to see a good recovery from him. And what's going to happen further back? Looks like Simon Haggerty is going to take that final position, just clear of Ed Singleton. That is a nice result. And there you have it at the close of round 3 of Radical Australia Cup. Victory to Peter Opie and the championship points lead. 2nd, Glenn Edis, a strong bag of points for him. Simon Haggerty, a great job, 3rd position.
I'm over the moon. I can't believe it. It was just a great weekend, fantastic track, great racing. Had a really good dice in the last race with Berryman and Miles. Tim got me off the start as he was off pole, and we diced all race long. I couldn't get past him. He was quick. Came in straight away on the pit lane window because he was covering me. Got out, and Jono came out just in front of me, and I locked it up trying to get him into the first turn, and we went side by side for the first 4 corners. It was fantastic.
I think concentration is the big thing. It's really easy to lose your concentration. You've really got to keep focusing on what you're doing, work on your corners, work on your braking, and just nurse the tyres and get the car home. That's the big thing.
The pit stop worked. We did an early pit with the first car in, and I came in, I think I was in 6th spot, and when I went out, we'd got a couple up, so really paid off.
That Phillip Island result, though, must have done a lot for your confidence.
Absolutely, yeah. It sort of gives you the idea that you can get there, and if you just stick there, stay in the race, stay on the road, you can get a result.
Yeah, look, Peter was starting, I think he was starting to make the odd mistake. Probably his tyres were starting to go off. And look, I thought I was in a pretty reasonable position. And look, I don't know, I was a bit surprised. I came down a lot the rears. Engine went dead. The back came round, a bit like a pendulum, a bit slow motion. I dipped the clutch, and I must have just stuffed the starter motor, because that was it. Had nothing, couldn't get anything going, and that was pretty much it. I sat there and watched everyone drive past me. So yeah, I'm really, really disappointed and really gutted, because we were looking. Look, it wasn't an easy track. I mean, like, to drive, to overtake, and we were hassling Peter the whole time. And I thought, you know, if I just keep going, he's starting to make mistakes, I'll just pounce if I, you know, get half a chance. But look, in the end, it worked out that instead I was the one who, you know, managed to come a cropper, and just really disappointed, because we probably weren't that far from the end, and even second place would have been a fair result. But yeah, we could have attacked and got first, but yeah, in the end, it just ended poorly again. So.
And here we have the Radical point score. Peter Opie takes the lead for the first time in the championship, followed by a great recovery from Ed Singleton in second place, and Glenn Edwards sticks in third place in the championship.
There you have it, another strong round for Radical Australia Cup at the Shannons Nationals. We're off to Eastern Creek Motor Raceway, June 14 to 17 for round 4, an absolute blockbuster event. 2 50-minute enduros for Radical. Make sure you don't miss that one.